former Formula Atlantic champion and Indy Lights driver Johnny O'Connell. That new wrinkle is the engines.
It certainly is, Rick. This year, for the first time, they're trying the Ford Cosworth motor. It's about 20 horsepower more, which is going to pose a serious challenge not only to the drivers, but the teams, and probably most importantly, the engine builders. After today, we're certainly going to find out who did their homework over the winter and who has the horsepower.
We'll be back here in Chandler, Arizona for more on the Prime Network exclusive coverage of the ACRL right after this. Prime Network coverage of American City Racing Round 1 brought to you by ACRL, the UK. It's the world's fastest shelter. And by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. We're back to look at the starting grid of this final race right after this. Sign says, welcome to Firebird International Raceway. It's in Chandler, Arizona, which is just a little ways south of Phoenix here in Arizona on a very sunny and hot day. And, Johnny, that's got to affect the way these guys are going to drive.
It really should, just a little bit. I mean, these guys have been waiting around all day just for this one moment right here where they're pulling out. It is hot, and they're out there in their three-piece suits. They're sweating. They're nervous about the race, so it will affect them just a little bit.
And these guys don't carry cool suits, so they're going to be especially hot. Let's take a look at how they qualified here for this first round for the 1992 season of the American Cities Racing League. The man on the pole in his return to this series is Bob Lesnett, racing for Team Las Vegas. Beside him will be from Team San Diego, Mike Palumbo. And we'll take a look at the rest of the cars as how they're lined up. And let's talk about this track, Johnny. Not only have you raced here before, but now as an instructor for the Bob Bondurant School, you're based out here, and you know this track real well. What's it like?
It's a pretty tricky track to drive. The way they're running it right now is straight down the drag strip, which means they're going to have some really good high speeds. The corner that they're in right now is a very big bend corner, and I think we could see some outbraking maneuvers there. One thing that the drivers are going to have to work with, as far as their setup was concerned, is there are some sections that are very bumpy, and this is going to upset the balance of the car. We're really going to find out early who has a good race setup and who might be struggling for the rest of the race.
This is the backside, that big wide turn, we call that the carousel. This goes back into sort of what can be a real tight, twisty section, but in this particular location, what they're going to do is they've actually cut off a couple of the corners. There you see them going through that section right there. As they come up here, if they really wanted to make it tight and twisty, they could make a little left turn and jog into that inside. There they've got the cone set up, though, and this actually will be a nice little place to take an advantage.
It certainly is, and that section that they just came through is the very bumpy section of which I was speaking. The guys I know have been having a hard time getting through there. What they're coming to right now is the hairpin leading onto the main straightaway. This will be a good passing area. You can see right there on the road, there are a lot of marks there where guys have been locking it up all weekend. So I think we'll see a lot of good outbraking maneuvers right there.
And you'll notice there's an open spot on the grid. That's where Peters Arcadis would have been. He'd qualified 6th. Unfortunately, in the morning warm-up, had a problem, broke the car, and as a result, he is out of this. And here we have the green flag as the start of this race. Round 1 of the American Cities Racing League gets underway, and it's a drag race going down the front straightaway between Mike Palumbo and Bob Lesnett. Lesnett, his first time back in the series after a couple years, and he takes the inside, but Palumbo goes outside and takes the lead.
A nice move by Palumbo, but I think it might, yeah, he got a little bit wide there. It's off in the marbles. That sometimes happens. He's falling back to 3rd now. You get into that first corner a little bit hot. It ends up pushing you out wide, and then that was all that Lesnett needed to get by there.
And you see Danny Ragland and Mark Carter. Danny Ragland in the number 2 car, Mark Carter in the number 3 car, both racing for Team Las Vegas, also are able to get by Palumbo as well.
Well, right now, Bob's looking pretty good. He had a lot of composure there when he got past, just let him go wide, and now he's probably just going to be working on setting his own pace here. This first lap or two, he might just feel his car out, then pick up the pace a little, try to get a little gap going between himself and the guys behind him. He knows that they're going to be scrapping just to get after him, so his job right now is just to concentrate, be smooth, and not make any mistakes out there.
And in that first turn, basically what he had to do was take his line. The goal is don't worry too much about what that guy behind you is doing it, because to get that advantage, he had to go offline.
Well, you know what? That's just the mark of a seasoned racer there with what Bob did. He knows this is a long race. There's no reason to fight so early. Mike made a good move inside of him, but he just wasn't able to hold his car down. Now, right now, Mike has probably got his adrenaline going at a couple hundred miles an hour. Look for him to come back through the field.
And he's doing it. You can see him sitting there in 4th place behind the two cars of Ragland and Carter. Carter is the one directly ahead of him, and you can see Carter's already started to slide a little bit. He's feeling the pressure of having Mike Palumbo right behind him.
And one of the things that you have to realize, Rick, is when you've got that much pressure on you and you start driving harder and the back end starts hanging out like these guys are starting to do just a little bit, that's doing nothing but beating up your tires more and more, which means at the later stages of the race, that little bit of oversteer that he has now, right now you see Palumbo pulling out there, but that little bit of understeer is just going to get worse and worse and make him easy prey for the people behind him.
Palumbo likes that going wide, going the outside, going into the carousel, and there, not only does he get by, he gets by both of them, both Ragland and Carter at the same maneuver.
A beautiful move. I think he got the first guy with a little bit of the draft. And I don't know what happened with the number 2 car there, but he opened the door, and Palumbo didn't need a whole lot of weight in there. He went for it.
So there you see the battles, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, then 5th, then 6th, all lined up. Once again, Bob Lesnett, who is in that black car, you can't even see him right now. He's slowly but surely building up a lead, but this is quite a battle we've got going for 2nd and 3rd. And there you see the two there right there on the teammates going after one another.
That's Ragland and Carter, and I tell you what, they'll be beating on each other. They're going to run each other hard right now, pulling down the straightaway, trying to pick up a draft, and this is usually where we're going to see some moving around the straightaway like these guys are doing right now. The number 6 car,
John Hill makes his move. He moves to the outside. Once again, similar to the move the Palumbo move, they almost come together. They come drag racing side by side, and it looks like Hill decides that discretion is the better part of valor.
Well, you know what? That was an aggressive move by Hill because he got next to him and then tried to move down on Carter. Carter, though, stood his ground. He had the inside line and forced Hill to fall back there.
You have to wonder, how much longer Carter's going to be able to hold off attacks like that.
Well, that's part of the sport. These guys are here. They're going to be, whoa, we got a little bit loose there for Ragland. Again, he's probably working real hard at getting back to Palumbo after that pass earlier. He's going to have to work, though, to catch up to him because I think Ragland's pulling away.
There you see Palumbo is also starting to pull away. Now there goes back to the battle. That's the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th right there. That pack real tight. Let's talk about that front straightaway. We see him as they're coming on, and that's an interesting section of track because that's normally a drag strip, and as a result, you've got a lot of different types of surfaces.
Right now, they're going across about 3 different surfaces. They're coming from asphalt, going to cement, crossing the rubber that's been left down from all the dragsters, and as a result, it makes it very difficult to get off that corner, and coming out onto such a long straightaway makes it the most... Whoa!
There. It looks like Carter tried to get underneath Ragland. Ragland spins and is sitting sideways. Everybody manages to avoid him. Ragland doesn't stall it. He takes off to get back into the pursuit. You could see going into that turn, the carousel, each one of those cars, Hill, Carter, and Ragland, each had their own line, each doing it a little bit differently. Carter went in a little bit early, and as a result, got a little bit loose. Ragland, you could see right there, Carter's right behind him. Ragland goes wide and just gets a little bit squirrely. I don't think he's there. He is touched. He is touched by Ragland.
There was a little contact there. Really what happened, I think Ragland just got in a little bit deep, and Carter saw an opening. He went for it, and that's one of the beauties of having the wheels covered here, is that you can get away with a little contact like that. Unfortunate break for Carter.
We'll be back with more of this round 1 of the American Cities Racing League from Firebird right after this. Welcome back to the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour. This portion, the American Cities Racing League, the first round of their series this year from here at Firebird International Raceway, Chandler, Arizona, just south of Phoenix. And there you see the two people who are leading 1 and 2, Bob Lesnett, in really what looks to be going to be a triumphant return to this series. He was the champion in the ACRL for 2 years. Finished 3rd when they were running back in the Sports 2000 time. Then in '89 and 1988, he was the champion. He took a couple years off. He went off and ran some other things. He was running Sports 2000. Last year, he ran Formula Atlantic and got a pretty brutal lesson in the cost of Formula Atlantic, I understand it. This year, he has decided to return back to the series that, quite frankly, he likes a lot more, which is Sports 2000. These are very interesting cars because, in essence, they're Formula Ford, 2,000cc Formula Fords with bodywork.
They certainly are, and it really puts a premium on being smooth. Now, you're going to notice the guys that earlier were letting the back end of the car hang out, what we in racing call oversteer. Those guys are falling back. They're not able to keep up. Bob, his whole strategy here is to concentrate on being smooth, carry his momentum through the corners, and just concentrate on being quick.
And there we talk about those people. That is the battle right now for 3rd place, 4th place, and 5th place. Carter just ahead of Hill with Ragland, who spun just a few moments ago, back behind him. Hill trying to figure out a way to get a line. Once again, that is a long, long straightaway. And normally it's being used here at Firebird as a drag racing strip. That's what this track is really more famous for than anything else. And in essence, that's what these guys have to learn how to do. They have to learn how to drag race down this long straightaway, which has got to be at least half a mile long.
It's a long straightaway, and the real magic is just to concentrate hard on getting out of that final corner quick. If you can do that, you've got a shot at catching the guy in front of you. Right now, what we're probably going to see Hill doing is trying to throw some fakes. He's got to get Carter thinking, watching his mirrors, get him a little bit nervous, like right there. You can see all the oversteer that Carter got there. That's just what Hill needs. That's going to give him the opportunity to catch up on the straightaway, perhaps pick up a draft, and pull to the inside line and try for a pass.
The goal, really, when you're in front, is to use your own line, not to let anybody else figure out the line for you. In essence, that's what Lesnett did into turn 1. Here we see Hill going to the outside. Now, why is everyone going to the outside to try to pass into that first turn?
Basically, what happened there is Carter, he's in front, and he knows that, and that means the racetrack is his, and he doesn't have any reason to give that up just because the guy's behind him. Now, with the benefit of being in front, he just pulled right down to the inside, forced Hill to, if he was going to make a pass, do it on the outside, and Hill knows that that's going to put him in the marbles. So it's difficult racing, but it's a smart racing right there on the part of Carter.
And you can see how bumpy it is when they get back into that twisty section. On these cars, that specifically hurts them a lot as they go through there.
Well, one thing that I like to see, or when I'm watching the racing,
there he slides again, going into that turn right into the straightaway. Just like he said before, he lost that speed, and this is going to give Hill a chance to draft on that straightaway and then catch up to him. And there you see Margie Smith-Haas in the back. She's back in 5th position right now.
The battle these two are having right here is the opportunity she needs to catch up, because they're only going to slow themselves down. Right here you can
coming
see
real close to contact, and Hill finally manages to make it to the outside. Now the question is, can he hang on? Gets loose, almost tapped, and continues on.
Well, you know what Carter probably should have done there is when he started going loose is try to get back to the inside of Hill, because Hill needed a little bit more room to gather up that car. If Carter had gone to the inside, he might have been able to get by.
And now that Hill has that clear track ahead of him, his goal is to try and drive his race. And you can see that Carter is all over him. Carter trying to take advantage. Hill getting a little sideways, going through that twisty section, and Carter not letting him get too far ahead.
Well, this just shows how evenly matched these cars are. This really is a driver series. You do again. There's Carter trying Hill on the inside. Didn't pull it off this time, but I'm sure what he's doing he's just trying to mess with Hill's head. Just make him think, watch his mirrors, force him to go into that one corner a little bit deeper than he wanted to. That's going to give him the opportunity he needs to get by.
For Hill, it's almost amazing that he's even here. He just bought the car a short time ago. He assembled it. It takes 100 hours to build a darn thing. He got it 3 weeks before this race, has been building the car, got the engine 2 weeks ahead of the race, has been building that, spent 31 hours driving it all down from the northwest. He's lucky he's even here, and now he's in a situation where he's competing extremely well.
He's doing a good job. I think all that the time that he's put in there is definitely an indication of how motivated he is to be at this race. And after putting in 100 hours onto your race car, you'd want to drive it hard and get as much out of it as you can. Here we see Lesnett again. Right now he's got about the same amount of lead that he had before on Palumbo. This looks like he really hasn't pulled out a whole lot, which is exactly what Bob wants to do. Use the car enough to stay in the lead, but not so much that you're going to abuse it and take away from the performance later in the race.
And there you see, going into the section that we call the carousel. Let's talk about this, because this is an interesting turn. It's not a circle. It changes radius, and that means a lot.
It tightens up a little on you. It's one of those corners. Generally, what a road racer wants to do is start all the way on the outside, bring it to the inside. We found that in the carousel, you're better off entering in a little bit tight, getting into an early apex. That's going to make it quick for you to come out.
And there you see literally sliding through that section. Now the question is, when you go through there and you slide over that bumps, what does that do to you?
It upsets the car a little bit. But again, hopefully these guys have their setup right, and they're going to be able to get the good exit out of there.
And Lesnett has the advantage of having no pressure on him. He can drive his race the entire way, which is exactly what he's doing here at Firebird International Raceway. Remember, this is the first round, the first race of the season for these guys. And this is where they're going to make their name. We'll be back with more racing action in just a moment. For Prime Network coverage of the American Cities Racing League, and there you see the battle that's developing. Right there, we've got car number 6. That is the car of John Hill, followed by number 3. That's Carter, and then Margie Smith-Haas is all over Carter right there. And interesting to look at, Margie Smith-Haas has a little addition to the back of her car. She's got some little wing tips.
Well, I don't know what her thought there is, what the team's thinking, whether that's going to help her out. You know, generally before you add something onto a car, you do a little bit of testing. You go out to a racetrack, you try it, see if it's quicker or not. And the fact that they're running here in a race really means that they've run it somewhere, hopefully, and that they found that it makes that car handle a little bit better.
I know, for example, in IMSA GTP racing, they use those side plates to sort of allow it to funnel the air just a little better over that rear wing and also prevent a little side movement. In this case, I imagine they're hoping to do the same thing. And Margie Smith-Haas is making it clear that she intends to catch up to Carter as quickly as possible. And this is, once again, the key part to it, getting that speed on that front straightaway, because this has proven the place to pass.
Well, I've been noticing that Carter, the whole race, has been getting a little bit loose going into the hairpin leading onto the straightaway, and it does affect his straight line speed. And right now, again, you can see him using that same inside line that he was using on Hill earlier to trying to keep Margie Smith-Haas from making a move on him.
And Margie actually tried to go in just a little further inside, but because he was holding his line, there was literally nothing for her to do.
There's nothing like a little bit of defensive racing there to make a battle fierce. Right now, what Margie has to do is think, where can she pass this guy? Because she knows every time at the end of the straight, all he's going to do is move to the inside. So she's probably going to, if she's smart, try throwing a few fakes, maybe in a couple other areas to sucker him into a position that she wants him to be in.
And Margie is an experienced racer. She's been racing Sports 2000 for quite some time. She's raced at Le Mans twice, running a Porsche over there, a 911. In addition to that, there you see, got a little tight. Carter did, going inside that turn, knocked some of the cones up. And there you see Margie right behind her, getting a little squirrely. These two are going at it late in this race. Once again, getting back to Margie, in addition to her driving duties on the racetrack, she has also been one of the PPG ladies, racing with the Indy cars. And what they do is they have the PPG pace car activities. They have a series of show cars that travel from IndyCar race to IndyCar race, and she is one of the designated drivers who spends a lot of time on the track showing these cars around. And even though it looks like they're not going fast, these ladies make it their goal to go as quickly as possible. As a result, she gets even more track time.
You know, and it shows. I mean, she's a very talented driver. One thing is, you know, guys always tend to think that racing's a man's game. And really, all you need to be is a good athlete, focused, be intelligent, and most important of all, have good concentration. Right now, she's shown that she has all those, characteristics, and she's a good racer.
And there we go, back up front. There you see Bob Lesnett as he's passing. There's a back marker between him and Mike Palumbo. Lesnett continuing, you see that's car number 1 of Jim Paul racing with the Long Beach team. And we haven't talked too much about the team concept. Let's get into that real briefly. Each one of these cars is a member of a team. Now, traditionally, there are always going to be at least 3 cars on a team. This year, they've changed that format. Now they're allowing 2 cars on the team. So in addition to an individual drivers' championship, there is also a team championship. As these guys go along, they are scoring points for a team. If there's 3 drivers, only the top 2 qualify in terms of points for a total team championship that will be decided at the end of the year. And these guys are racing just as much for their team as they are for themselves.
Yeah, it's important in that respect that they finish. But I think, you know, all these guys, they're out there to win. And I don't think if you found 2 guys from the same team, you know, coming down to the last lap, I don't really think they'd show a lot of respect for team orders here. I mean, they want to win. And but if one car's in a position to win and another's having a hard time, the responsibility of the second car is just to make sure that they finish so that the team does collect points.
And one advantage during the course of a race weekend, because they are a team, generally they'll travel together, their rigs are together. As a result, they share some expenses that way. And during the course of a weekend, if a Bob Lesnett has an advantage, you know, with Team Las Vegas, he may be able to give some information to his teammate. Or if Mike Palumbo has some information that he's gathered on the course of the track, obviously he's probably not going to give away that winning secret. He still wants to win the race. But he's got a teammate that he can look out for. He's got a team championship to be concerned about. And as a result, he's got to make sure that that teammate can do just as well.
He certainly would. He'd want to help them out to a small degree, unless, of course, it was someone who is capable of outrunning him. Then he might not want to give him all the secrets of where his speed is at. Right now, it looks like he's got things in control here, though Palumbo is doing a super job. One thing I noticed that Palumbo did well is generally when the leader, Lesnett in this case, gets into traffic, they like to try to take advantage of it, get through it real quick, and try to leave the guy in second, so he's caught up in a corner. Palumbo quickly made work of the guy that he had to get around there and has not lost any ground to Lesnett.
And Bob Lesnett has not lost any ground of the series, a 2-year layoff, but now as he starts the last lap of this race, it looks like he is going to come back with a vengeance. Interesting to point out, he's a veteran in the series. He's won a number of races, won a number of championships. The guy behind him, Mike Palumbo, it's his first year of racing full-size cars, a former kart champion, but he's learning some new lessons out here by a master.
He certainly is, and Bob gets a lot of track time. He works out of Sears Point. He's out there once, twice a week, getting that all-important practice, and it's really showing up today.
Bob Lesnet goes to the final turn of the final lap here at Firebird, and what is going to look like a very triumphant return to this series. There you see the checkered flag is out, and Bob Lesnet wins this race at Firebird International Raceway, the first round of the series this year, followed by Mike Palumbo, the kid, a kid who is also an actor. He stars in soap operas, done some commercial acting. And there you see the battle for third and fourth between Carter and Margie Smith-Haas. He gets a little sideways going in there, but not enough that she can take advantage of it. And that's the way they're going to finish. Hill, then Carter, then Margie Smith-Haas.
Well, and Margie Smith-Haas did a beautiful job pressuring him those last couple of laps, but wasn't able to pull it off.
And Bob Lesnet wins it. We'll be back with the final results right after this.
Easy Up Original Shade. Call 1-800-SHADE-ME now.
Back here at a very hot Firebird International Raceway, you see the fans who managed to withstand the heat here in the stands. They got over 100 degrees today here. Hot up there, especially hot down on the track, where Bob Lesnet has come away with his first victory in several years. I imagine the fellow racers out there wish he enjoyed open wheel racing a little bit better. Mike Palumbo finishing second, John Hill, then Mark Carter, Margie Smith-Haas. That was the finishing order for the first five as you look at the rest of the drivers as well. And right now, let's talk with the winner. Johnny O'Connell's with me.
I'm here with Bob Lesnet, the winner of the ACRL race. Bob, very quick out there, but you looked like you had your hands full pretty much the entire race.
Mike kept me real honest. He actually passed me at the start going down in turn one and got too wide and lost it, and I got back inside of him, and he got another car in there also, so I pulled out a 2 or 3 second lead, and then we thought that we might have a little trouble with the brakes, and so I sort of paced myself. Seemed like when he got close, I could really turn it on and pull back away a little bit. But he definitely kept me honest the whole race. He's going to be a real challenge this year.
Well, it was an outstanding job. Again, Bob Lesnet, the winner here at Firebird.
Thank you, Johnny.
I'm sure the other drivers aren't going to be too happy to hear that Bob Lesnet was pacing himself at the end of this race. We talked about the fact this is a team event, so let's take a look at the team standings. San Diego is now in the lead with 173 points, followed by Long Beach, who now has 160 points. San Jose has 137 points. The Las Vegas team, 101 points. Unfortunately, that's when Bob Lesnet drives over. He was the only team out here. And Washington has 88 points. This is the first of 10 races they'll go through the rest of the year. Portland Rose Cup is the next one. That's on the weekend of June 14th. And here at Firebird International Raceway, the American Cities Racing League has done its thing. Prime Network coverage of round one of this event was brought to you by Easy Up Original Shade, the world's fastest shelters, and by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. So for Johnny O'Connell, I'm Rick DeGrule here at Firebird International Raceway, where we have seen the checkered flag fall on the first of what may be a lot of winning races by Bob Lesnet. Lesnet the victor here in round one of the American Cities Racing League.